Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to the Intuitive Lifestyle Success Podcast, where we explore empowered conscious living to create priceless advantages for your wellness, your business, and your life. I am your host, Master Intuitive Cathleen Miller, and this is my first time recording video alongside of the audio, so please excuse if I'm sort of, ADHDing out with this, trying to flow these all together. And yet I wanted to be able to start bringing this to the YouTube channel as well. So here we are. So today's episode, we are in episode 106, and it is February 2025. And today's question is choosing your timeline. What are you choosing? What is true for you at this time to really be more consciously aware of where you're going, what's happening. There's so much that is up in the world that is happening on so many levels, with energies really escalating to new levels of I'm going to say opportunity, actually, because if we can move out of the duality of making everything right and wrong, which is all meant to keep us disconnected ultimately. And I know this is not going to sit well with a lot of people because there's a lot that is deemed very wrong. There's a lot, and I am not advocating for corruption or crime or any of these things that are absolutely going on. And yet what really the purpose of today and why I chose to call this Choosing Your Timeline is the most important message I want to get across today is realizing that you have a choice. And I want to bring this conscious, empowered choice to the forefront about what you're creating in your life. We've all heard 2025, yes, is a transformation year, it's a 9-year. And those are very true. But within that, we also have these splits that are happening of, energies that are going to get extremely chaotic for all. And yet, as we choose from circumstance to circumstance, depending on what is happening, I know with obviously the wildfires, with uprises, with a lot of changes politically, when you have your own microcosm of what's happening for you in your area, in your life, in your experience, and then you also have what's happening on the macrocosm of global changes and global, real things, very intense things coming to the surface to be changed, to collapse. I mean, ultimately, if something is not creating greater good for the future and truly escalating into a greater, more sustainable future, it will not be able to survive. And yet part of this timeline split that is happening is there will be many who don't really care, who don't want to be bothered, who are really, because of being in lower consciousness, this isn't a judgment, this is an acknowledgement of many who are choosing to not really wake up, not to pursue being more aware of what they're choosing, the ramifications of that on the planet, the ramifications of that on society, on what, on the earth, on so many levels. That ignorance and that unconsciousness really is also going to begin to go into greater chaos and greater upheaval, which some of the environmental uplifting, some of the weather lifting is part of that, balancing. I mean, even though it's super chaotic and again, I'm not saying any of this is okay. It's so tragic on a human level. And yet really being able to, even in those situations, because I've known and have had clients in many, from the hurricanes to the fires, who are kind of in the throes of starting from scratch and really having to deal with death and many, many intensities in their life. And yet I'm so blown away by their really commitment. And that's my first piece, is this commitment to really staying higher, really committing to ascending in vibration, ascending in focus, and really being willing to allow that, even though we have so many things that are distracting, that are getting our attention, so many headlines, so many things right in our face, but to really stay in that committed, I'm going to go higher. I'm going to elevate my vibration no matter what shows up, no matter what is happening, and also to really be in a ever increasing state of neutrality with all of this crazy contrast, because that helps to balance for so many. It helps for those who are in the throes of loss to come back to balance and really reset their lives or go in a new direction for many of them. And then for others, it is, really coming into this new space of possibility. And really, I mean, it's similar to COVID in one way, that it's, such extreme, immediate changes across the board, and not being able to go public really created this whole nother culture of working at home and having all of these elements of our lives really adapt to that. And so this adaptation, which we can either thrash against it, we can hate it, we can go into upheaval, or we can choose to prioritize, getting a supportive community together, really taking care of the self and the mental health on a daily basis, and prioritizing that to keep your vibration as elevated as you possibly can. And so that's really the first one, is that committed. I'm committed to this new conscious creation of reality that we're all contributing to, and that we all have unique gifts to contribute to it as a conscious community. And then, two is really, I think the next point, which really goes in tandem with the first one, is really that 100% accountability. I know for me, even from end of December to now, this sort of next level acceleration that I've personally been experiencing, and from the group work that I'm doing with my clients as well as my client work, there's sort of this super turbo blast that is happening. And it's not a bad thing, but it's not, it has these pockets of intensity of really bringing to the surface these lower conscious, sometimes anti-conscious, which is, anti-conscious is seeking to really destroy, to harm, and this consciousness we all have benevolent conscious, we have pockets where we're kind of semi-conscious, we're not as aware on certain things, and then we can have unconsciousness where we're completely checked out, or we're just really, dissociated from things. And then there's anti-conscious, where it's those who, get out of my way, or you're gonna get harmed. And so those energies that are coming up for the collective quite dynamically, are coming up for the glow quite dynamically, which is bringing dark agendas, which is bringing darker, energies and intentions that are really not easy to see as a collective. I know for myself, as a starseed, I have been conscious wide open since as early as I can remember. So even as a toddler, I just really, I didn't understand that people couldn't see and experience the way I did through energy, but I also had just no concept of a lot of this manipulative and agendaed behavior was very, very foreign for me as well. And I know that's for a lot of people. But as we move into, this committed accountability for what we are creating, for where we're still coming into conscious. I mean, we can all, even in my own work with being very open, I still had, between programming, the lineage I've come from, the work and your soul chart of what you're here to learn and work through, we have layers where we become more conscious in certain areas and relationships, or our body, or what we're creating. So that, is to me, that's a constant unfolding. We're constantly peeling back new layers, getting to greater truths of ourselves, getting to greater awareness of our capabilities too. Because as you keep doing that work, you really move into new awarenesses, or you're ready to go to new places or have new gifts open up. And that's something, even recently, a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was December, had a new guide show up on my team, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And she said, you're just now ready because of all the development you've been working for years. Your matrix is just now ready to handle the calibration of this for what you're going to be doing next. So and I share that because I want it to inspire you, because that might not be relevant for you at all, but I want to inspire you to really be aware of, something I hear from a lot of light workers is, wow, where is this going? Like, this is we're having to stay grounded and peaceful, and in a time where there's so much resistance and so much indifference sometimes, I find, or a sense of, is anything happening? What's going on here? And so being able to, again, really be coming back to the self and really balancing and steadying and expanding the light in self. And then from there, taking that out into the world in whatever way, whatever honest, authentic expression is true for you. So that's definitely number 2. And then third, which is part of this choosing your timeline, is also with the energies that have been coming for years, but certainly accelerating in this year, is we have never been more in the driver's seat to create our own life, and a really incredibly fast pace too. So as much as there's so much falling away, and which is not a bad thing, it's sometimes very uncomfortable, I admit. And yet when we are really poised for moving forward to create greater, and even leaving that open-ended, because I have a lot of clients over the years, they're like, I'm not sure what my purpose is or where this is going or what I'm going towards, because let's face it, a lot of goals are material. I want this house, or I want a child, or this, and those aren't wrong or bad. Those all have their place, but really, asking, hey, Source, Creator, what am I here to do? Because as we really, without trying to tell ourselves, but aligning with our higher self, we can move into an energy of awareness and allowing the organic opening of greater gifts as we move from the personality self into the higher self, into the galactic self. And as those energies open, it really can become this ascended timeline that, one, has a lot more ease to it, but 2, begins to open up a realm of light living existence that really hasn't been on the planet before, which is extraordinary. And so we are at this incredible pivot in the history of our planet, but also as a civilization, and as these codes within our DNA keep opening up, and these new star awarenesses, and we also are choosing to go to the higher benevolent energies, because we also have been exposed to a lot of dark narratives of alien energies that they're going to harm you, they're going to do this. And it's not to say there aren't bad and good, because there are benevolent, just like there's very kind, benevolent, humanitarian humans, there are murderers and really unconscious, anti-conscious humans. So it's the same with star beings. There are many, many, many benevolent, very, very kind, seeking to contribute to healing, to actually really resuscitating and supporting the planet to become sustainable and more sustainable again for future, but also for, healthier alternatives to thriving in a more conscious society, and a more conscious, holistic, light living. And so that's what I have clearly chosen. That's what I am, wanting to inspire others into. And even if you say, well, I'm not sure what that means, I'm not sure where that's all going, it's so fascinating, because we are creating it from what we desire and bringing that piece in, while the collective is also flowing in their ways as well. Because there's many who are not going to want to move forward, and those are going to go into just different realm of experience. But those who are choosing, no, I want to live in an ascended space, I want to really, really embody these higher frequencies of benevolent light that is really more of a unity consciousness for all to thrive in. These are 2 different realities that are really going to begin to, they're already split, but they're going to begin to really accelerate in the split, where they, are it's just important to be choosing at this time which one, and not just, oh, I want the high one, that sounds better, but I'm going to keep screaming at people that cut me off in traffic and living unconsciously in all the other ways. You can't say it and not live it. You have to live this, and that's that 100% commitment and accountability of what am I and every single day, within the day, at the end of the day, am I choosing, could I have been kinder to somebody who, I don't know, made a rude comment and maybe I just ignore it? Who knows? Like, it can be small actions, it can be major awarenesses, and to just be gentle, but really, really lifting each day into greater, again, accountability and lifting into this space of just a greater, more ever expanding awareness of experience, of creation, and of, this new earth that we are. We are there, we are it. And as we continue to kind of flow this light for all to really pick up on and to be able to discern all the nonsense from the actual true energy, the higher and the more you work on yourself, that discernment gets cleaner and clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer, and much, much, much easier. And so that's another huge benefit of this work that I highly, highly encourage. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you are new to my YouTube channel, or maybe you're listening to this on one of my podcast outlets as well, on BuzzFeed or Spotify or any of those channels, I would love for you to please subscribe, leave a positive review, or any review. I welcome all, freedom of thought. And questions. I'd love to have questions, because I always definitely consider that for new content coming up. I do have some really fun different groups coming up. I've got another, because I've had several requests this week for another Starseed Alchemy Team, which is more of a deep dive, advanced galactic Starbeing work. We do global grid work. We do, all kinds of personal development around your Starseed experience, and really integrating that into a holistic life. I am also starting a group healing, which is going to be a Starseed and a Galactic being led group healing. And so that's going to be February 22nd. I'm going to probably do that once a month in future. And then the Starseed Alchemy Team will be a 5-week group one. And I haven't posted dates yet. If you'd like to learn more, all of that is on my site at intuitivlifestylesuccess.com. I also have a group, an alchemy activation, a ascension activation that I'm going to be doing with Alasa Tiernan. So, and again, all the information and details about this are all on my site at intuitivlifestylesuccess.com, as well as being able to set up a session to work with me privately, or whatever you're inspired to do. But definitely check out, I have tons of free resources between the podcasts. I'm always dropping new videos on my YouTube channel as well. And so I am here to support. I'm here as a human galactic well-being light leader, and wanting to infuse more conscious confidence and a greater holistic, thriving future of light that we are creating together now. And really knowing that as we do this and as we align with this, it will get easier. We are in times of clarification and really eradicating a lot of lower energies at this time, or the planet is. And so really staying the course when you notice those intensities, as well as the light waves coming to the planet, which we are also integrating, which is why really interesting body stuff can be showing up. So again, a private session can really assist to have greater understanding, as well as some light healing and some energy medicine there, as well as support for getting connected in your own way, so that you're empowered to align with your own intuitive knowing and creating the greatest, most thriving and joyful future, to really keep that focus on joy and not just surviving these times, but really how can we be thriving in all of them. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm so grateful for you to be here today. Again, definitely subscribe, connect, leave a comment, and I hope to be able to connect with you all soon. Take care, guys.